Some of my fondest video game memories come from one system in particular. I, of course, am talking about the Nintendo 64. Whether it was me playing the N64 by myself or playing it with friends or family, I remember the first time I saw an N64 in action with Super Mario 64, and I was just absolutely blown away by not only the polygons really, but it was the sheer size and scope that that game brought to the table. Of course, recently, Super Mario 64 has been in the news again because the L is real situation popped up. Of course, there's been that rumor for 25 plus years now that the L is real. Is Luigi hidden in the game somewhere? Was he supposed to be in the game and he was removed at the last second? It always seemed kind of like a speculative thing. But of course, we saw some footage emerge from a video game show that did indeed showcase Luigi as a playable character in that game. So one of the biggest mysteries of the Nintendo 64 was indeed solved. But the cool thing about the N64, at least in my opinion, is it always seems like there's something else that ends up getting discovered. Something that nobody knew about a certain game on that system that ends up getting seen. We see it a lot with other retro games too. Once we kind of got to the PS2 Plus era, all that mystique kind of went away because developers seemed to just talk about stuff a lot more, but there were secrets in these older games. And we're not focusing in on Super Mario 64 today. Instead, we're focusing in on arguably my favorite N64 game of all time. WCW NWO Revenge. Now, over on my second channel, I made a video dedicated to this, saying that it is the best sports game of all time, and I can't count the amount of hours I have put into WCW NWO Revenge. It's probably into the thousands. I still play it today. It's just a fun game to pick up and play. That Aki N64 engine was just so good, and all of the games that came out utilizing that engine are really just timeless games. The roster was great. The arenas were great. Yeah, it didn't have the licensed music that we ended up seeing in subsequent WWF games, but WCW NWO Revenge was one of the peaks of my wrestling fandom and really video game wrestling game fandom as well. But that's what we're talking about today, because a secret has been discovered that nobody knew this entire time that the game was out on the marketplace. Now, many people will say that WWF No Mercy is their favorite wrestling game because, well, it's kind of considered to be the GOAT. It had a great creator wrestler section. It had more game types than all of the other previous games had, as far as, you know, what types of matches you could do and stuff like that. There was a deep story mode with multiple branching paths for multiple titles. I definitely absolutely love that game, and I've covered things about that game, such as new ROM hacks for them. I covered the WWF Legends Challenge 64 ROM hack, which I just absolutely love, and I play it all the time. But No Mercy seems like it's kind of been capped out as far as secrets were concerned. No Mercy also had something that Revenge did not have, and it was an integral part of the gameplay that really made No Mercy feel like a bit of a step above the WCW NWO Revenge game. And that, of course, was the running grapples. In case you don't know what that means, essentially what that means is you run towards an opponent, and instead of just punching them or kicking them or doing some sort of strike move, you can actually grab them and do a different move from that. It really opens up the types of moves you can do, and it really opens up the gameplay. So that was kind of one of the crowning achievements of WWF No Mercy, and that's the reason why that game gets hacked the most. It's not necessarily because it had all that extra stuff in it, because the hackers then just, you know, overwrite that sort of stuff, but it's the actual gameplay engine. Well, it's been discovered that WCW NWO Revenge actually was designed to have running grapples in the game. And this is absolutely incredible to me because it really, it's just amazing. So we're going to take a look at this here. This was discovered by someone named Melonbread, who is a member of the Aki Club. He loves the Aki Engine games, but he says, Did you know, I just discovered this in the last 10 minutes, but looks like some characters in WCW NWO Revenge have running grapples, front and rear, in their movesets, although it looks like everyone has them disabled by default via their parameters. And you can see here in this clip, it's clearly WCW NWO Revenge. It's Bret Hart doing a running grapple animation. And that running grapple animation is actually completely different than what we saw in WWF No Mercy. And honestly, I kind of like this running grapple animation, maybe a little bit more. You know, it's kind of a lunging forward sort of thing, but you could see, like, this isn't a move hack. This is actually being done in the game by turning off a certain parameter. So Melon Bread found this out by saying he was trying to work out what parameter controlled the Tiger Mask Rey Mysterio dash tope feint. So that's why I was dashing and holding the analog stick. That's how you perform the running grapple. Otherwise, I'd never have found this. So what's interesting about that is when you're doing a running grapple in something like No Mercy, you simply just hold the grapple button down while you're running. And if you do it in a direction, you end up doing a different move than if you're not pressing it in a direction. The analog stick, of course, is known for the specials in the game. That's how you do your special in the game, or your specials, because there's different parameters that are set up for different types of moves. So utilizing the analog stick, which is also a taunt in the game, and that's how you do that taunt with Rey Mysterio or Tiger Mask in the game. Like, that's something actually completely different. So it was mapped to the analog stick instead of the running grapple button. So by turning off a parameter, he goes on to say in the subsequent comments, you can actually enable this if you have something like an EverDrive or a Game Shark. But here's where things get absolutely incredible to me, and as you can see, your boy liked it. You have the running diamond cutter in the game. This would have been the fourth variation of the diamond cutter, which is perfect for DDP. If you know anything about the wrestling era from this time frame, before it was the RKO, DDP was the one that could bust it out of nowhere. In a WCW NWO Revenge, there's actually 3 ways to do a diamond cutter, which is the most of any special move in the game. You could do it by a standard grapple and then hitting the analog stick when your special meter is up and do a traditional diamond cutter. You can also put someone in the corner and do your grapple and then your special move, and you'll put them up on the top rope and do the diamond cutter off there. Or you also have my favorite, which is when you throw someone into the ropes, hit the analog stick, and he vaults him up in the air and brings him down for the diamond cutter. But this would have been the 4th move. And like, it looks so good. Like, look at it. It looks amazing. It looks like it should have been in the game. It feels like something DDP would have done. You know, running up onto an opponent and then grabbing him and putting it in that diamond cutter. It's absolutely amazing. And it's just a simple parameter that you have to turn off in the game. Let's see if I can find it here. So yeah, if you've got a Game Shark or EverDrive, you can. I've just hacked Bret's parameters here, changed one value so that the game knows he has running grapples. The moves are already a part of his moveset. How amazing is this? And I know there's going to be people that are like, this isn't a big deal. You know, this is more of like me doing like an MVG style video where like I watch some of his stuff and I'm like, oh, you know, I guess that's kind of cool. But people love it. So for me, like, this hits home with me, dude. This is absolutely amazing to me that this was in the game. But I guess maybe they didn't have enough time to finish it up. And so they decided, well, you know, if we can't give it to everyone, then we shouldn't do it. But in the same breath, it's like, well, wait a second. You know, you also implemented the strike meter from Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 into this game just for Goldberg. So, like, why couldn't some wrestlers have their own certain moves that could only be done by certain characters? Like, it kind of makes sense for me, personally. Like, I don't expect Kevin Nash to be running up and doing a running grapple move, but someone like Bret Hart, DDP, the Luchadors, you know, it would have made perfect sense. So, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Like, it's absolutely a groundbreaking discovery in WWF or in WCW NWO Revenge that, like, the gameplay could have been more. And, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I wish that this was indeed in the final version of the game. But, you know, it's cool. You know, we ended up getting it anyways and No Mercy, and then we have all the amazing No Mercy ROM hacks. So let me know what you think about this in the comments section down below, because I'm absolutely stunned by this. Like, to see my favorite video game of, like, pretty much of all time, well, one of my top 5 favorite games of all time, like, holding on to this damn secret. Crazy. It makes you wonder, like, what about your favorite retro game? You know, what about your favorite game growing up? Does it still hold secrets that nobody knows about? You never know. Look to the skies. The sky's the limit. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Thank you for checking out all of my videos. We've had a very successful past week or so on the channel. Lots of new subscribers. So I hope you guys are digging the content. I know this is going to be a bit more of a niche video, but I don't care because it's cool to me and maybe it'll be cool to you. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.